Art is a diverse range of human activities in creating visual, auditory or performing artifacts, artworks, expressing the author's imaginative, conceptual ideas, or technical skill, intended to be appreciated for their beauty or emotional power. 1-2. Other activities related to the production of works of art include the criticism of art, the study of the history of art, and the aesthetic dissemination clarification needed, of art. The three classical branches of art are painting, sculpture and architecture. 3. Music, theater, film, dance, and other performing arts, as well as literature and other media such as interactive media, are included in a broader definition of the arts. 1-4. Until the 17th century, art referred to any skill or mastery and was not differentiated from crafts or sciences. In modern usage after the 17th century, where aesthetic considerations are paramount, the fine arts are separated and distinguished from acquired skills in general, such as the decorative or applied arts. Though the definition of what constitutes art is disputed 5, 6, 7, and has changed over time, general descriptions mention an idea of imaginative or technical skill stemming from human agency. 8, and creation. 9. The nature of art and related concepts, such as creativity and interpretation, are explored in a branch of philosophy known as aesthetics. 10. In the perspective of the history of art, 9. Artistic works have existed for almost as long as humankind, from early prehistoric art to contemporary art. However, some theorists feel that the typical concept of artistic works fits less well outside modern Western societies. 11. One early sense of the definition of art is closely related to the older Latin meaning, which roughly translates to skill or craft, as associated with words such as artisan. English words derived from this meaning include artifact, artificial, artifice, medical arts, and military arts. However, there are many other colloquial uses of the word, all with some relation to its etymology. Over time, philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, and Kant, among others, question the meaning of art. 12. Several dialogues in Plato tackle questions about art. Socrates says that poetry is inspired by the muses, and is not rational. He speaks approvingly of this, and other forms of divine madness, drunkenness, eroticism, and dreaming, in the Phaedrus, 265 AC, and yet in the Republic wants to outlaw Homer's great poetic art, and laughter as well. In Ion, Socrates gives no hint of the disapproval of Homer that he expresses in the Republic. The dialogue Ion suggests that Homer's Iliad functioned in the ancient Greek world as the Bible does today in the modern Christian world, as divinely inspired literary art that can provide moral guidance, if only it can be properly interpreted. 13. With regards to the literary art and the musical arts, Aristotle considered epic poetry, tragedy, comedy, dithyrambic poetry and music to be mimetic or imitative art, each varying in imitation by medium, object, and manner. 14. For example, music imitates with the media of rhythm and harmony, whereas dance imitates with rhythm alone, and poetry with language. The forms also differ in their object of imitation. Comedy, for instance, is a dramatic imitation of men worse than average, whereas tragedy imitates men slightly better than average. Lastly, the forms differ in their manner of imitation, through narrative or character, through change or no change, and through drama or no drama. 15. Aristotle believed that imitation is natural to mankind and constitutes one of mankind's advantages over animals. 16. The more recent and specific sense of the word art as an abbreviation for creative art or fine art emerged in the early 17th century. 17. Fine art refers to a skill used to express the artist's creativity, or to engage the audience's aesthetic sensibilities, or to draw the audience towards consideration of more refined or finer work of art. Within this latter sense, the word art may refer to several things: I. A study of a creative skill; 2. A process of using the creative skill; 3. A product of the creative skill; or 4. The audience's experience with the creative skill. The creative arts, art as discipline, are a collection of disciplines which produce artworks, art as objects, that are compelled by a personal drive, art as activity, and convey a message, mood, or symbolism for the perceiver to interpret, art as experience. Art is something that stimulates an individual's thoughts, emotions, beliefs, or ideas through the senses. Works of art can be explicitly made for this purpose or interpreted on the basis of images or objects. For some scholars, such as Kant, The sciences and the arts could be distinguished by taking science as representing the domain of knowledge and the arts as representing the domain of the freedom of artistic expression. 18. Often, if the skill is being used in a common or practical way, people will consider it a craft instead of art. Likewise, if the skill is being used in a commercial or industrial way, it may be considered commercial art instead of fine art. On the other hand, crafts and design are sometimes considered applied art. Some art followers have argued that the difference between fine art and applied art has more to do with value judgments made about the art than any clear definitional difference. 19. However, even fine art often has goals beyond pure creativity and self-expression. The purpose of works of art may be to communicate ideas, such as in politically, spiritually, or philosophically motivated art, to create a sense of beauty, see aesthetics, to explore the nature of perception, for pleasure, or to generate strong emotions. The purpose may also be seemingly non-existent. The nature of art has been described by philosopher Richard Wollheim as one of the most elusive of the traditional problems of human culture. 20. Art has been defined as a vehicle for the expression or communication of emotions and ideas, a means for exploring and appreciating formal elements for their own sake, and as mimesis or representation. Art as mimesis has deep roots in the philosophy of Aristotle. 21. Leo Tolstoy identified art as a use of indirect means to communicate from one person to another. 21. Benedetto Croce and R.G. Collingwood advanced the idealist view that art expresses emotions, and that the work of art therefore essentially exists in the mind of the creator. 22-23. The theory of art as form has its roots in the philosophy of Kant, and was developed in the early 20th century by Roger Fry and Clive Bell. More recently, thinkers influenced by Martin Heidegger have interpreted art as the means by which a community develops for itself a medium for self-expression and interpretation. 24. George Dickey has offered an institutional theory of art that defines a work of art as any artifact upon which a qualified person or persons acting on behalf of the social institution commonly referred to as the art world has conferred the status of candidate for appreciation. 25. Larry Scheiner has described fine art as not an essence or a fate but something we have made. Art as we have generally understood it is a European invention barely 200 years old. 26. Art may be characterized in terms of mimesis, its representation of reality, narrative, storytelling, expression, communication of emotion, or other qualities. During the Romantic period, art came to be seen as a special faculty of the human mind to be classified with religion and science. 27.